Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana.
Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Nandini Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasnaya Devi.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Nandini Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasnaya Devi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let's continue what we left the study program, wherein we discuss the process of devotional service, how to cultivate devotional service. So it's akin to the spiritual master planting the seed of bhakti in our heart. So our heart becomes a garden. So we must take care of the garden of the heart. And the process is cultivation. And how do we cultivate the garden? By watering it. So how do we cultivate our spiritual life, our relationship with the Supreme Person? So we're given here guidance by Prahlad Maharaj, narrated by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, close associates of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna. So the 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Yesterday, we discussed hearing the names and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the process for sacrifice is to hear the names and glories of the Supreme Person. So in the teachings of the saintly person, especially Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, wherein Lord Krishna guides us, the division of faith, because we are conditioned by the modes of material nature and our upbringing, our culture, we have a certain closeness or meditation upon the Supreme Person with the faith we were exposed to, and that faith is attraction for the Supreme Person. So that faith must be strengthened with wisdom. It's like when we cultivate the garden and the plant that is planted in our heart. So it grows, become bigger and bigger, the roots expands, and then it bears fruit. So in Bhagavad Gita, stated here in text 25, one should perform sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from the material entanglement. Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the Supreme Absolute Truth, Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme Person. So in the teachings of Puranas or scripture, the process for sacrifice in this age of quarrel and confusion is the glorification of God's names, the chanting of the glories of the Supreme Person, centered around the Mahamantra or the Sankirtan program of Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have this longing to have protection, to have shelter. to love someone eternally, where our hearts can be reposed and directed in a very stable shelter. And that can only be achieved with the sacrifice that God, the Supreme Person, teaches us and approaches us through the guidance of His loving servant, the spiritual master. So chanting His glories. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advises all of us, Arjuna, and his advice is this: it is about our focus, our meditation, what we want, what we think, what we feel, and activities we do every day. So, sacrifice for the Supreme Person disentangles us because the focus of meditation of our activities is now directed upon spiritual activities that are absolute and eternal, and it's connected with our true transcendental nature and our eternal relationship with the Supreme Person that gives Him pleasure because it is His will, desire that we love Him. So what entangles us? What separates us? It is our affection, our focus upon this temporary world, and about our own selfish interests to just be all alone, to do what we want. But deep within us, we want to have this longing for getting something for ourselves. So what we should be longing is our long-lost relationship with the Supreme Person, to be in harmony with Him because He's the Supreme Protector, the source of happiness, and He's self-sufficient, and He is our eternal loving friend. He protects us. So when we are entangled in this material world, we try to hurdle it with our own power. But the problem is that we are eternally dominated, loving servants of the Supreme Person, and then when we try to separate ourselves, distance ourselves from that natural tendency to serve, love the Supreme Person, then we become forced to enter a world, a dimension of suffering. Because what we're longing for is negated or separated from us, the protection of the Supreme Person. So when our faith, our longing, our heart's desire comes to the point of being very close, strengthened by the purification of the holy names of God. So the garden in our heart, the seed that is planted, the plant grows. And we experience what we're longing for. So it is about experiencing God's protection. Not that what we want from the Supreme Person, so He will be obliged to do our desire and will. We must come to the point of purity wherein our will, our desire has no material consideration, but rather simply serving and loving the Supreme Person, because that is our true transcendental nature as eternally the loving servant of God. And it comes with wisdom and purification and sacrifice. A certain activity leads to a certain consciousness, and a certain consciousness leads to a certain activity. So you look closely what you're doing, what is your focus, what is your meditation. So Prahlad Maharaj gives us this guidance. Bhakti or love for God is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service. And for this reason, it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting material activities. So when we engage in asanas, kundalini practice, we try to redirect the senses. But we need a connection with what we're longing for, a higher taste, and that is our relationship with our eternal friend, sweet Lord Krishna, Govinda or Gopinath. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. So when you practice this meditation, sitting alone, trying to control the senses, watch your mind, but you must go further to engage in activities. And what are those activities? The ninth process of devotional service begins with hearing the names and glories of the Supreme Person, because it's stated in Shastra that in Kali Yuga, the prime sacrifice is the Mahamanta or the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, because it is the process that has been already stated since time immemorial that Lord Krishna will come not as the Supreme Person, but rather a devotee to teach us how to love God. God Himself teaches us how to love God by chanting the glories of God, the Supreme Purifier. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Srila Prahlad Maharaj recommend. So, the second process is chanting His glories. So, chanting His glories, it is reinforced with Lord Krishna's statement. Because the whole point of chanting the holy names or engaging in the practice of devotional service is to befriend God, because He's our eternal friend. Our consciousness, our life, are we wanting to be God's friend, or our activities, or we do engage in action, is it conducive to friendship with the Supreme Person? How does friendship come? It comes with wisdom of what He wants. You relate to someone who's your friend, who has unconditional love for you. What does he want? He just simply wants us to be happy, to be protected. And the eternal friend who can address that in action is the Supreme Person who loves us eternally. So now, the living entity us, we're here, lost in this desert, this empty world, drowning, empty-hearted, insecure, fearful. So, we must stop first, and while we come to the understanding or hearing this knowledge, we're now in the crossroad. So, we must make a decision where we're heading. Crossroad means the poor direction. And if in our life, in this body now, the direction we're heading is a world of emptiness, a world of insecurity, and an unknown world, while we endeavor to find shelter, we are now given this wisdom so we can decide how to cross this crossroad and be focused in the right direction, connected with our eternal relationship with the Supreme Friend, our eternal friend, Lord Krishna. So if you want to be a friend of Lord Krishna, we must ask, we must meditate, we must listen and hear from someone who is his loving servant, who is his friend, to teach us how to relate to the Supreme Person without material consideration and material contamination, because the friendship with the Supreme Person is transcendental to all this material consideration. It is about the purity of devotion. The living entity by nature is divine. We are all divine. But because of the contamination of material nature, our direction in life is contaminated and influenced by the modes of material nature, materialism. So in our endeavor, we are always in illusion of trying to find shelter where everything material is transitory, and we try to take shelter. Transitory means it's an illusion. You think you have it and it's gone. Even in our life, we must be intelligent. What I'm doing with my life now, because of the mode of passion, the mode of goodness, and the mode of ignorance, where am I heading? What will I achieve? What will be the end result of my activities? So we must see, and the advice given to us by the saintly person, especially Prahlad Maharaj, Narada Muni, that we are in this transitory world, illusory world, and we're trying to find shelter where there is none. And how to come to that point is through the process coming from God Himself. So, chanting His glories. So here, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I'm speaking to you the most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is for your own benefit. The perfection of renunciation, text 64 and text 65, Lord Krishna affirming, okay, always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. And he tells us, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all simple reaction. Do not fear. So, Lord Chaitanya is the most munificent Supreme Personality of Godhead because He gives us this connection of pure love of God, friendship with the Supreme Person through the purificatory process of the Maha Mantra, the chanting of the holy names. So the glories of the chanting of the holy names is about God's love for us, His friendship. So while we're traveling, we're in this crossroad, you check carefully, see, where am I heading? Am I in the right direction? Do I know the right direction? So after hearing the truth, this absolute truth about our true transcendental nature, our true eternal position as eternally the loving child, the loving friend of the Supreme Person, and we engage in our eternal activities to render this connection of offering loving devotion to the Supreme Person through hearing and chanting His glories, then we will succeed. Because that is the eternal path that is being given to us, guided by someone who is eternally His loving servant, loving friend, our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada. So someone who loves God can teach us how to love God. And he gives us this process, cultivation of devotional service. So protection, we're trying to protect ourselves with our own endeavor, in our struggle. I'm not saying you don't need to work. You have to work for the upkeep of your body and to assist those who cannot take care of their struggle first to maintain their body while they're young. We must, like a family man, a mother, okay, a daughter, we must make effort for the upkeep of our body. But here we're discussing about surrendering to the Supreme Person. And He's giving us this absolute promise. He will protect us if we surrender. We become His friend. Because we will be guided by our loving relationship of taking shelter of Him. The sweetness of experiencing that loving relationship that we are always longing. Our eternal friend, Lord Krishna, Govinda, Gopinath. Okay. So I'll tell you the story of the Battle of Kurukshetra. So, at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, there's the enemy of the Pandavas, Jayadratha. Arjuna promised that he will kill Jayadratha, okay, before sundown. So, Jayadratha, one of the kings, one of the generals leading one army, came to know about the statement of Arjuna, I will kill Jayadratha before sundown. So, Lord Krishna told him, you gave a statement that's really hard, you know? What if Jayadratha hides or run away? But because his associates, the generals, the opposing army of the Pandavas advise him, no, we will protect you, okay? We will protect you. So he did not run away because it's cowardice. A general, a warrior, because Kshatriyas or warriors are not afraid to die. That's their bread and butter, to fight. Because when they fight, if they win, they will enjoy worldly possession from the booty that they have conquered. If they die in the battle, they go to the heavenly planet. So warriors have this chivalry. I will fight. Okay. Now it's different. Only rare, very few real warriors. So what happened was, the group of the Kauravas, they tried to protect Jayadratha. So they were waiting for sundown. So what Lord Krishna did was, he told Arjuna, I will create an illusion wherein everybody will think that it's sundown. Okay? And not only that, he narrated to Arjuna the history of Jayadratha. His father, who is a Brahmin, a meditator, have this boon given, or that whoever separates Jayadratha's head when it falls on the ground, the person who cut his head will burst into smithereens. Okay. That is the curse or the boon that his father promised, because he's a Brahmin. If a very powerful Brahmin curses you, then better watch out. Okay. So Lord Krishna narrated that. So Lord Krishna protected Arjuna because his promise, if he cannot kill Jayadratha before sundown, he will enter into the fire for immolation. He will commit suicide. Okay? So everybody's trying to protect Jayadratha. Duryodhana, Kripa Acharya, all of them. So Lord Krishna created this illusion, and he told Arjuna that when that illusion is gone, you must able to shoot an arrow to cut Jayadratha's head, because the arrows that they have are not ordinary arrows. They pray their mantra that when they shoot an arrow, wherever you go, it will follow you. Okay? So in this case, the arrow that was used by Arjuna, the mantra, is to cut the head of Jayadratha, but that head will fall upon the lap of his father, okay, who is there near the lake, near the battlefield. So everybody's waiting, and then Krishna put everybody in illusion. They think it's already sundown. Now we have won. Arjuna will enter into the fire and immolate himself. So Arjuna's waiting, just the window. Lord Krishna tells him, there's a window that when that illusion is gone, you must able to shoot the arrow to cut Jayadratha's head. And Arjuna's waiting. Everybody just relax. Oh, we won. All the warriors, they just waiting. Arjuna is dead. Because he will enter into the fire. So they put their weapons down and waited. And they were amazed because the sun is still there. Okay? But that short window, Arjuna was able to release his arrow and cut Jayadratha's head while he is not protecting himself and not being protected by all the warriors there. And the head flew. The arrow, it fell down on the lap of his father while meditating. And the father was, what's this? And the head of his son fell down. And when it fell down, his head broke into small pieces. So, my point is this. Lord Krishna will always protect his devotee. In this case, it is Arjuna who is his friend. And the activities or what he wants Arjuna to do is fight the demons who are giving so much burden to Mother Earth and to the people in general. They hate Krishna. They're full of envy and lust. Like Duryodhana, he's so envious whenever he sees the Pandavas. He envies Yudhishthira in the sacrifice to reinstate King Yudhishthira as the emperor. He was given the opportunity to receive all the gifts from all the kings from different kingdoms. And he saw the bounty, the gold, the jewelries, everything. And he felt in his heart, I should be the one to own this, to receive this. And he has this envy of Yudhishthira, the devotee. So, Lord Krishna tells us there are three doors that leads to hell. Number one, it's lust, matinding pagnanasa. It is our love directed upon this temporary world for us to enjoy or experience happiness, a different energy. And we become frustrated. And when we become frustrated, we become angry. When we become angry, we are always in this state of losing our intelligence. And because of lust, we envy God. We envy and we think, I am deserving. I should get all of this. And when we look at individuals who are having so much, we envy them. We want what they have. So it means our direction that leads us to be separated from Lord Krishna is lust, because it's a direction of failure, unfulfillment, trying to find fulfillment or happiness that is infinite in this finite, temporary, illusory world. Kaya makita nyo, it's very clear. It's not just believing. You see it with clarity when you hear from someone who is transcendental to this material conditioning, whose wisdom is transcendental. It is about pure loving service to the Supreme Person, as what Lord Krishna wants us to be situated in. That's why the spiritual master guides us, gives us a process wherein we can cultivate the garden in our heart by the sacrifice of meditation upon the holy names of God. So when you begin to practice chanting the holy names of God, in the beginning, it's just a practice. And after a while, your tongue cannot stop chanting, your mind cannot stop chanting, and then you begin to see, you begin to taste a connection with longing to have a friendship, a stable, eternal friendship with God by following this process of meditation. So that is the process given to us. It is all about the glories of God, the chanting of the glories of God. It is His love for us. Here in the material world, what do we want? We want to be, we want fame, okay? To be respected. You know how salesmen trick those who they want to sell their products, okay? You know what they do? Oh, you're so rich, you have everything, okay? And, we have this product, you're a good person, okay? They praise you, and your ears, pluck, 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 pluck. Sir, you have everything, cars, you're great. And then, pak, 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 pak. Sir, can you buy, would you want to buy this? It will enhance your glory, that when you drive, everybody will look at you, okay? When you do something, everybody will clap, okay? It's all about you. So when we come in contact with the pure loving servant of God, he teaches us the truth. The truth may be unpalatable, but it will be the cutting edge that will cut this ignorance that has encumbered us, that has shackled us, that has become the anchor of our frustration. What is the anchor of our frustration? You know what's an anchor? Angkla ba? Diba? There's a boat, when there's typhoon, they put down the anchor so it will not, What is the anchor? What are the shackles that, It is our meditation upon this body, thinking we're the body, and the search for happiness and security based upon the influence that we become enslaved by the senses. Because our search for happiness is in this finite, temporary, dead world. That is Maya's trick, illusion. And the spiritual master tells us the truth. He tells us because he sees the truth and he loves us. He tries to guide us. He blesses us. He is always thinking of us, wishing us well. Our well-wisher is someone who protects us with wisdom and guides us with his blessing, because if we follow his teachings, Lord Krishna will be very pleased because we are making and establishing friendship with someone who loves him. That's why we offer Guru Puj. We offer Guru Puj. We offer respect to the spiritual master with this prayer to please the Supreme Person. But a materialist is someone who thinks that sitting on a big chair, people bowing down to him, giving him garland will make him happy. One time, my spiritual master was here in the Philippines, and this journalist, he's so envious because everybody is so happy. The disciples, the students of Srila Prabhupada who have heard from him about hearing the glories of God and establishing that friendship from our eternal friend who loves us eternally. So everybody who's there were previously focused upon this world. They were all miserable. It's not that the devotees who were chanting, who engaged in hearing the process, is that they're lacking from what we're trying to achieve. One of my god brother is a multi-billionaire. You know, he goes to the gathering and humbly begged our spiritual master. When our spiritual master gives prasadam, he lines himself and receive prasadam. He can buy hundreds of candy factories, you know. But why does he go there? Because of this connection of his love, his heart, that has been cultivated from hearing the glories of God. But this person who's so much focused upon telling the truth about this world, what do the journalists do? What do these journalists do? Mga mainit na balita. Okay? Anong balita na mainit? Bahaw na yun eh. Because it has been chewed long time ago. And it's all about the miseries of this world. And they tell, I'm a journalist. Okay? I just speak the truth. What do they portray? Somebody has been killed. Someone has been raped. Okay? There's a war going on now. Okay? People are suffering in Africa. Okay? Leaders are, destroying our country. But they never tell us that the media, materialistic worship, because there's only two religion, worship of materialism and worship of what is spiritual. You, the person, with your relationship with God. So what do the media do? What do? They portray. They give us this mundane activities that are happening and try to project their consciousness and intent and pollute people's mind and heart. Look at what they do. Diba? They try to make us believe, the kids, who looks at the media, who listens to them about this miserable world. It's okay. Think positively. Okay? Think positively. And what do they project? All these perverted activities. Activities that are centered around this body. So the spiritual now, they dance TikTok, yeah? So what do they do now? All the kids, That's why I'm telling you, I was really amazed at the influence of media and all these agents of illusion. Okay? Maya, this young kid who was here, kindergarten, she's chanting, and she left Madana Mohana, and then I saw her, she's growing up, her body's growing up, and she's dancing there, surrounded by all the casket, because their business is about selling casket. It's what do they call that, Michalila? Coffins, and she's there dancing TikTok, looking at there's mirror from this casket, and she looks, dance, dance, dance. All about herself. That is the projection of this materialistic media. So when she saw Srila Prabhupada, our Gurudev, people bow down and offer respect, she doesn't like it. Why is she given respect? Okay? She's not in that world of friendship with the will of God, that simply follow someone who's loving me. And who gives you that vision? God Himself. He arranged it, that you be put in a place, in a situation, wherein you can be given this opportunity to see the light, so you can be with clarity. And what is that light all about? It is about the transcendental, eternal wisdom of our eternality. And she's looking at our Gurudev being given garlands. Why are they giving garlands to him? Okay? And she writes on her commentary, it's full of envy. He's sitting on a high chair, she's sitting on a small chair. She wanted what she thinks that will give her happiness. But if I put you on a big, giant chair, okay, golden chair, and you sit down, will it give you happiness? Okay? For example, you gather all this wealth. Okay? A lot of people are garbage collectors. So, due to their karma, they're put in a situation where they have this material wealth in the form of money, business and money coming down upon them. If you embrace that, you'll be happy. Okay? All the jewels, what you're embracing, you live. And the body is just embracing it. Or the thieves seize it, they murder you and steal all your wealth. Or those who take over companies, Company takeover. So my point is this. Be having a garland, given garland by the devotees, it is the instruction of God that one must surrender. And that surrender is not just, I surrender. No, it's the surrender of a guidance how to love our eternal friend. So you make friendship with someone who teaches you how to love God. That is the spiritual master. The spiritual master is not someone who gathers followers. No. What is the use of having thousands of followers when they all die and leave the body? Our spiritual master gives us this process that God is giving us. Surrender. A guidance that is sustainable, that when we leave this body and we have the spiritual merits to follow this eternal world of glorifying God, our spiritual relationship with God will be sustainable even though we leave this body. You understand that? So when you chant, you leave this body, where your heart is, that's where you'll go. So it has a great transcendental influence and effect upon us when we follow the teachings of Lord Krsna. And He tells us this: always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my dear friend. So Arjuna, in the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna advised him, fight, kill them, because he's a warrior. He has to fight. It is his nature. Okay? The Brahmanas, their nature is to study the Vedas and speak the truth. The Vaishyas, or worker, or farmers, or businessmen, they plant grains, Okay? And the Sudras or workers, they work with their bodies. And Arjuna, the influence upon him is that he is focused upon being a warrior because that is his nature. So he fought the battle. And Krishna protected him in the face of adversity. All those powerful generals, he cannot defeat them without Krishna. Krishna guided him and protected him in the face of adversity. And he succeeded. So all of us here, it's akin to Arjuna's situation is that he is a devotee of the Supreme Person. He's put into this situation of illusion to teach us about the truth and to protect him, protect his promise, his friendship with him. So if we engage in this process of cultivating our friendship with the Supreme Person, then we will be guided by him. Okay? Not this material nature. Is it clear? Is it understandable? Is it clear sa inyo? And he's telling us, because you're my very dear friend, I'm speaking to you the most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is your own benefit. So the process we do follow is not my mental concoction. It is simply a narrative coming from the saintly person, our Gurudev, the Lord within the heart, and the instruction of Krishna. And it's the eternal world of the glorification of God's glories. And it is achieved through the sacrifice of Sankirtan Yajna. Haribol, Namaste. Haribol, Krishna.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastayate.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Om Krishna,
Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Radha
Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, 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 Madana Mohana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga. Jaya Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Bol Namaste.